with a different podcast with live guests for the first time. Welcome to Celso Talks Podcast. 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 Celso Talks Podcast about to start with Celso Luis Santiago Jr. transmitting live from Dunkirk, New York. Welcome to Celso Talks Podcast. Celso Talks Podcast. Celso Talks Podcast. Celso Talks Podcast.
What again, everybody? Welcome to your favorite podcast, Celso Talks Podcast, with your favorite host, Celso Luis Santiago Jr. And today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. And the time is 5:43 p.m. And Lord have mercy. What? Lord have mercy. I was thinking about this. Very sad story that happened in Rochester, New York. Last Sunday at the Andrew Street Bridge. Well, where a little boy named Sajay. I'm not gonna say that because we don't know yet. I'm not gonna say that he lost his life because the search is still going on. And hopefully they can, find, this kid that has fallen off the bridge of Andrew Street Bridge in Rochester, New York, last Sunday. Rumors that saying that the search is still going. Search is still going, but has been unsuccessful. Now, Lord have mercy. As a podcaster, and I did explain this. I did explain this couple, episodes ago. As a podcaster, a podcaster has the ability to see the story. I want to say see the both sides of the story. We have the ability to be open-minded and think out of the box, and sometimes we say things that comes out of our mouth, and sometimes people are gonna like it, people are not gonna like it. That's basically is something that as a podcaster we took a risk. We made a vow. I was looking at the story of how it happened that day, which was last Sunday, at the Andrew Street Bridge in Rochester, New York, where Sajay fall from the bridge, and into this day has not been found. You know, and I was really thinking about this since the incident happened. You know, and it just, oh Lord, I'm looking at the story. I look at the story many times. You know, basically, the mother was. This is what I see the story. This is what I heard. Mother was walking on the Industry Bridge in Rochester, New York, with Sajay in the stroller. So, reading of how the story goes, basically, Sajay took his, the belt or stroller off, ran, and jumped off from the bridge. Say that the mother only saw him when he fell from the bridge. Now, I'm not. I don't want people. I don't want people to think that Celso is judging. I'm not judging. So everybody that is listening to me, I'm not judging. But I thought at first I spoke to a lot of people in Duncan, New York. I spoke to a lot of people about this before I did this podcast, and I thought I was the only person thinking this way. A lot of people, some people think differently, but a lot of people like me think this way. Now, I'm not judging the mother. I'm not judging the mother. I don't want to. I don't want people to think, oh, he's judging. No, I'm not judging. Yes, I do understand accidents can happen. When it comes to a child, accidents are able to happen, and I understand. I get that. But at the same time, I do feel that no matter what, a parent should be more responsible of their kids. Listen to what I'm saying. I do understand kids are going to be kids, and I do understand that things can happen, accidents happen. I get it. But what I'm so sorry when I'm about to say this, and I know I'm going to get hate mails because I always do. Every time I go to such a podcast, it doesn't happen when I do C2K Talk Show. It happens when I do Celso Talk Podcast because I took a bow and I did how can I say this? I took a bow. I did explain this a couple episodes ago. I took a bow to tell nothing but the truth when it comes to not only to C2K Talk Show, but when it comes to Social Talk Podcast. And I'm going to say how I feel, and I'm going to speak my opinion. And I'm so sorry to say, I mean, I want to say this, and I'm going to be clear. The 15% of the story, I do believe. But the other percent of the story, I just cannot buy it. Trust and believe. I just can't. I'm sorry, I cannot buy it. I tried many times to buy the story. I looked the story in many different ways, and I was even in my job at on my breaks and lunch. I was like looking at the story, and I just looking different type of ways, and I try to buy it. Trust and believe. I try to buy it, but there's something in my mind that it said it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So okay, the kid was in the stroller. The mother had the kid in the stroller. The kid took his belt from his stroller, ran, fall from the bridge. I just I, trust and believe. I want to believe it. I want to believe it. I do. I want to believe the story. I do. I want to believe. I want to buy it. I want to believe the story. But I only see there's a search. But I do believe that a investigation is needed in this case. I don't know if there's an investigation. Nobody has said nothing about investigation. People have said about search. I get it. If it was a kidnapping, let's say if it was a kidnapping, it would be different. Then it doesn't need an investigation because it was a kidnapping. Kidnapping, person got kidnapped. But this type is not a kidnap. It's an accident. Okay, I get it. It's an accident, and we're gonna put it that way. It's an accident, very tragical accident. But there's a gap. I feel like there is a gap in the story, and in this gap, there's a lot of questions. And I thought that I was the only one, having these questions in my mind. But in that gap, there's a lot of questions. And then one of the question is the mother was paying attention? If the mother was paying attention, if she was distracted when this happened, how this happened? What what went down before the tragic happened? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that big gap before the incident happened, and it just just space for full questions without answers. And one of the question is if the mother was paying attention or she was distracted before this happened. What she was doing. I don't want to say, oh no, so you're putting, no, 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 no. I'm not putting fingers on her. It's just a question. I get it. Children are going to be children. I get it. But at the same time, the kid was in the stroller. You look at, I mean, the stroller is right in front of you. The stroller is right in front of you. You are the one pushing the stroller. You pushing the stroller. The stroller is right in front of you where you can see it. I could understand maybe if maybe she was sitting down and the stroller was next to her, but still, no matter what, because the stroller, if you were sitting down and you got the baby in the stroller still is visible to you where you could see it, right? Unless if you're sitting down and something happens, but unless you're sitting down next to the stroller and you are on your phone being distracted, and something happens to the kid, like the kid take the seat, the bus seat, and starts running. Or maybe let's say, for example, I mean, I know what I'm just saying. Maybe I'm gonna put an example over there. Maybe if if you're in the kitchen and you're putting baby in the stroller because you cooking whatever, and the baby snaps his takes his belts off and start running. Maybe in that part, maybe because you're cooking, but you're still looking, but you're cooking. You kind of a little busy, but you're still looking at the stroller, but you're still busy again. So you kind of distracted, but then you're not. But you have the stroller in front of you. You're pushing the stroller, and I'm looking at the story. She was walking with the stroller. Sajay took the seatbelt off, ran, fall off of the bridge. So for a baby, I don't know how if he was 4, 3. I don't remember how much how old he was. But I'm thinking, I'm sitting down right now, and I'm just thinking, you know the scenario. I'm looking at it right now. So Sajay, she was walking. Sajay in the stroller. Sajay took the belt off, ran, and fell off of the bridge. Okay, all right. Here's the thing. Now that I'm looking at it, walking walking the stroller with Sajay. Sajay take the seatbelt off, but the stroller is still in motion, right? The stroller is still moving. Sajay take the belt off, gets off on the stroller. Okay, here's one thing. If you move in the stroller, right? If you move in the stroller, if the baby would have took off his belt, get off on of the stroller, while the stroller is still in motion, would the baby fall off on the floor first before he ran? Because if the stroller is still in motion, still you're still walking, you're walking the baby. That baby would have just taken the belt off. He needs to get out of the stroller. While the stroller is still in movement, is still in motion, the baby would have fall off on the floor first, right? And depends on how he fall on the ground. He would he cry? So it will still give you ample time to grab the baby. Because like I say, I'm looking right now in my head. I'm analyzing the story. I used to study criminal justice, so I'm just like I'm in my investigation mode right now. I'm investigating this, looking at the story right now. I'm looking at the story in my head, and I'm putting myself. Okay, I'm putting myself like I'm the one moving the stroller, and I'm basically I'm putting myself like I'm the one moving the stroller with IJ, and I'm walking at the Andrew Street Bridge. When you walk something or you push something, your vision still looking forward. You're still looking forward, right? It's just like you push a grocery, a grocery cart, or I don't know, you're pushing something. Your vision is in the front. You're looking forward, so you could see everything that is in front of you if you're not distracted. So okay, I'm moving the stroller. Stroller's in motion. Sajay gets off to take his belt off, gets off from the stroller, and it's like my mind still goes where if the stroller was in motion, Sajay would have fall on the ground first. Sajay would have lost his balance. Wow, getting out of the stroller. But I still wouldn't see. I still wouldn't see Sajay getting out of the stroller if I'm not distracted. If I don't know, let's say for example, if I could understand if I'm walking the store and I'm on the phone talking to someone, or I'm on the phone, I'm looking at the phone while at the same time I'm pushing. Yeah, I'm looking forward, but at the same time, I'm doing whatever I'm doing on the phone. So okay, that might be possible, but at the same time, while even though if I'm still distracted with a phone, but I can still kind of see Sajay moving because Sajay's in front of me. Unless because there are some strollers that doesn't have the top, the cover. So we don't know what kind of stroller Sajay was. There are some strollers that doesn't have the top. So if okay, for example, if I'm pushing Sajay on a stroller without a top, where I'm looking at, I can see Sajay in the stroller. I can see Sajay taking his belt off, but still, even though my stroller is in motion, he still would have fall off of the stroller. And I would still see Sajay and have ample time to stop him, right? Now let's go to a stroller with a stroller with a top. Almost same scenario, but I can still Sajay would have fall off of the stroller while the stroller is in motion. And even if I'm still looking at the phone, whatever, and I'm still pushing the stroller and I'm still looking in front of me, I would have hear Sajay screaming or crying because he would have get hurt falling from the stroller, right? Okay. But now she said, and this is what other people said, that she saw Sajay fall off from the stroller. So I mean fall off from the bridge. So you saw the baby fall off from the bridge. So in that moment from where you pushing the stroller, Sajay was in the stroller, takes his seatbelt off, he ran, but you only see the baby fall off from, or you see the baby fall off from the bridge. So in that time, what she was doing, because when I see at that little gap, the only thing that I can see is not paying attention, not being alert. Now here's another thing. Here's another thing that I'm going to say. By looking outside Jay, how little he is, does a bridge have railings? Right? A bridge has railings, right? Listen, I lived in Rochester for 23 years. So the Andrew Street. So Andrew Street, if I'm looking at the right way, Andrew Street Bridge. Hold on. Let me look at it this way. Andrew Street Bridge. So basically, if that's the one on Opera Falls, right? I'm looking at it right now. I haven't been in Rochester for close to 2 years. But if that's the one that goes to, let me see, Andrew Bridge, it's an Upper Falls, right? It's basically where you go. It's like, let me see, Quinton. Let me see, hold on. Andrew Street. Okay, it's not Quinton Avenue. Hold on, because yeah, this Clinton Avenue and this bridge that goes from Clinton Avenue. When you see the Opal Falls, and it will take you straight to State Street, right? No, hold on. You see, I haven't been in for 2 years in Rochester, New York, almost close to 2 years. But I do know that what's this? It's not Clinton Avenue. No, it's not from Clinton Avenue. It's from Lord have mercy. What's the name of the street after Clinton Avenue? Lord have mercy. Yeah. It's the bridge that is by. If I'm thinking on that one, because I know every bridge go to State Street, which it turns into. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, because like I said, I haven't been there for 2 years. State Street, does that turn to Lake Avenue? Right? I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But I'm looking at the bridge and I see, yeah, that's the one when you see the Opal Falls. When you walk, that might be the one. If it's Andrew Street, I think that might be the one that is. Then you cross it and then you go where's the flower park, right? Yeah, I think that's the one because that's the one you can see the Opal Falls. But then no, then but the Opal Falls is downtown. Okay. So there's another bridge in downtown, right? So that could be the one, the bridge of downtown. Then anyway, I'm looking at ratings. I still look at ratings, and I can see those ratings are higher than are taller than Sajay. So what does Sajay have to crime? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends the gap. It depends the gap that are between those ratings. So it's possible. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that he ran off, probably went through the railings and fall off. That probably could be, but still, anyway, I'm still looking at that gap, that little gap, and there's a lot of people. I heard people say this, that she only saw Sajay fall off from the bridge. So that little gap, this is what it irritates me. Like, trust me, believe this. It does irritate me when I'm looking at that gap in that story, and I'm putting Sajay on the stroller. So there's a gap when Sajay was on the stroller from when he ran off and fall off on the bridge. That's that gap. That's what is irritating me. You see, I need to. I think I need to do another episode of this. I need to, because I need to look at those ratings from. I need to observe this. more than I did because I was so focused on the story. But now what I'm going to do is, and I might do another episode or in this podcast about this. When I come more prepared that I am, and I want to see those railings. I need to know what side she was walking, what side of the bridge she was walking, and I want to see those railings to see how those because I forgot. In, listen, I woke. I mean, woke. No, have mercy. I walked that those bridges for 23 years. So I know those bridges. But the thing is, I want to see. I look at the ratings because I want to see how if there was a. I think there are gaps between those ratings where yes, it's possible a kid can fall off and pass those between those ratings and fall off. Yeah, I want to do another episode of this right here because I want to be more because like I said, I just was focused on the story. I was so focused on the storyline, and I need it just for me. I feel like I know this is a search, and I do hope they find J. I'm praying for that. I am. Trust and believe. I'm praying for that, and I hope they do find Sajay. I hope they find it. They find him. But I just hope that this was an accident. I just hope this was an accident. It was not intentional. I just hope, and I do pray to God that do find they find Sajay. It just. I got a question. What does the industry, of Rich? Huh? If that's when you go, industry Rich. Andrews Street? Yeah. It's downtown, right across where the St. Paul Strip with them clubs, the liquor room. Okay, so St. Paul, like yeah, there you go, St. Paul. So okay, there you go. That's what I was looking at, St. Paul. So that's in downtown St. Paul. Okay, yeah, true. Okay, now I get it now. Yeah, that's the one on St. Paul, because St. Paul, all the bridges go to State Street. And State Street turns to Lake Avenue. So if we're looking at the one on the Andrew Street, that's St. Paul, go to State Street. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do another episode of this, guys, because I have been so focused on it just I believe that I'm just looking at the gap of the story, and it's irritating. It's irritating. But I'm gonna have to go because I really need to look at. I'm going to do some of my investigation, and I'm going to see the railings of that bridge, if how separate it was. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening to another episode of the Talk Podcast. And I was your host, Celso Vicente Jr. I will do an episode about this because I just it's just I just hope they find this kid. I just hope they find them, and anything is possible. But anyway, love you all. God bless you, and um into another Stay tuned to another episode of Celso podcast, which right here, this is going to be the second part of Sajay. So have a blessed day, and I will see you in another episode of Celso Talks Podcast.
Celso Talks Podcast. He's been in this game since 2016. Now he's in 2025 with a different podcast with live guests for the first time. Welcome to Celso Talks Podcast. 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 Celso Talks Podcast about to start with Celso Luis Santiago Jr. transmitting live from Dunkirk, New York. Welcome to Celso Talks Podcast. Celso Talks Podcast. Celso Talks